What's up, y'all? Welcome back. This is episode 7 of the Anomaly.
Episodes. Hey, that
Episode
rolled off the top of the. Hey, you didn't have to think about that. Episode
Because
7.
I just was in there editing episode 6. That's all.
Did we tell y'all we was a production team? I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
We doing everything.
Hey, welcome. If this is your first time, I want to just give you a personal welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you're an athlete, we say this all the time, but I feel like it's just like, man, we just want
to say.
Yeah, we just want to appreciate y'all that are here. If you're an athlete, if you're a non-athlete, if you're a believer, if you're an unbeliever, welcome. Welcome to.
I feel like that's good to say because we've talked about this, how we know, like, we are athletes, we're athletes, are in the sports world.
Yeah.
And this is kind of catered to them just because of our experiences.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all the things that we talk about can relate to anyone, no matter if you're an athlete or not. So
that is true. Yeah. So that's kind of why we say that, because man, we just don't know. Man, anybody could listen to this thing. You know what I'm saying?
For real, exactly.
Like, so that's why we say that. But welcome. We're glad you are here.
We are indeed. Today,
so episode 7.
Today,
what we talking about?
We are talking about the impact of authority, bro.
The impact of authority.
Like that's a good one.
It is a good one.
It is a real good one
because in sports you have coaches, you got parents, you got parents, you got parents, you got parents. If y'all can't tell,
I feel like it's different. It's different for your side because like you gotta like deal directly.
That is true. With parents. With parents. I was about to say the reason, as you can tell, parents are like, it's not gonna be now, but later on maybe. Yeah. I'm just gonna look directly into the camera. Parents, I'm just gonna give some advice. To all the parents that are out there listening. I'm not a parent. I'm not a parent, but it's just like being on the side. Being on the side of coaching and training. Yeah. You do have to deal with a lot of parents and stuff like that. Yeah, some parents are rock stars, amazing, they're great. Some parents,
I already know, bro.
But we'll get there. We'll get there. But like we want to talk about. Let's start off on some of the authority, whether it be coaches or parents or whoever, anybody that has like a positive impact. Anybody you can think of that's had a positive impact on you, or negative impact, but then you took it as a positive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, does anybody
honestly, bro, I feel like I've had a lot of like very good, like influential authority in my life. Some like Christian authority, but some of them not Christian authority, but they were still like positive influences. I guess the main one I think about is my father, my dad. He was my coach from a very young age, like Same. Doing everything pretty much. I mean,
I don't even know if my dad played basketball.
My dad definitely didn't run track, but he was my track coach. That's what I'm saying. Like he just found a way to learn and study and teach me and get me to where I am today. So that alone, aside from just him as a parent, as a coach, making sure I always knew like faith comes first. No matter what you do, always put God first. So that was a big thing for me, but that comes along with like the parent side of it, not necessarily the coach side. Right. But I also had plenty of coaches coming up, man, that were really, really. It's hard to describe them because they weren't necessarily like they were believers, and like I knew that. Yeah. But when it came to the sports, they were just very, with me. They just pushed me because they saw the potential that was in me. It wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like they were just like super nice or anything like that, or like just a best, like an athlete's coach that people like to say, it wasn't like that, or player's coach. It wasn't like that. It was just, I don't know. I just felt like looking back on it. I don't know if I thought this stuff at the time, but looking back on it, I was like, I really appreciated like how they handled the situations and just being an athlete under them and learning how they ran the team, just everything. It was just, I don't know, it's good to look back on things like that and see those coaches.
I'll say my dad was coach because I started playing soccer. Yeah. A little fun fact, soccer is actually my favorite sport.
That's great.
It's not basketball. That's why I like playing FIFA. We talked about one of the things. But yeah. So soccer, I just remember like he was the coach in soccer and basketball, and until it got to a point where he was like, "All right, be gone." Yeah, you know, in a way. You know.
Time out. Did he play soccer?
No. Dang. I think, like, truthfully, I think the YMCA just sat there and was like, man, all right, you have a kid that plays, and then it's like, man, you're just a good person. Like, you care about the kids. Yeah. You're a father. Like, you treat everybody, you know, with respect and stuff like that. So, you know, it was just one of those things like, hey, can you, because, you know, at the YMCA, you just got to have somebody.
They need somebody in there.
Like, you just have to have an authoritative figure, and hopefully you want, like, one that's positive and stuff like that. Yeah. But, because I know, like, growing up, I was always taught, you know, respect others and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like, I never rarely disrespected coaches or whatever. Or, like, if I did, I didn't mean to. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of that connects to, I think, the fact that our father was our coach. Yeah. Because, like, we had no choice. Like, you ain't finna disrespect your dad. Right. Definitely not your coach.
Absolutely. But I will say, though, like, it's crazy, though. Because then once he stopped coaching, like, my dad don't really say much in games. Yeah. Like, he just sits there and just, but it's like the one time he says something, it, like, turns me up. Like, and I'm not talking about turns me up. Like, I get, like, I play way better because I'm like, the audacity of you to open your mouth. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel that for real. I do feel that.
So then my
100%.
My reaction is just like, oh, I'm about to be LeBron James out here. I'm about to kill now.
I gotta go crazy now. I'm about to go crazy. Because my dad think I'm not, you know.
And then he would just say one thing and then not say nothing else. Yeah. And then I'm just like, I'm out there fuming, but it made me play like way better. Same. You know, which in a way, I guess it's kind of bad because it's like I played better because I wanted them to be quiet. And that's what I'm saying. It's not like I'm disrespecting the coaches. Yeah. It's just like, because I got coached and stuff like that. It's just like, man, I'm going to do everything you're telling me to do. And I'm going to do it hard because I was taught respect your elders, respect the people that's in authority and stuff like that. Even though sometimes you don't you disagree.
Yeah. I was going to say, talk about the times when it's like hard not to disrespect authority. If it's maybe you're in a situation where the coach may not be right, like, you know what they're saying is wrong, or it's something like they're just not the type of person that kind of, not to say deserves respect, but like demands it. Like they don't carry themselves the right way for you to respect them in that way.
I would say all the coaches I've had, you like you respected them. Like I respected them. Like it's just like they went out here doing some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But there are some times where, and this is what I'm saying, I'm not like I didn't mean to. My whole basketball career, I feel like, well, high school and onward, was kind of plagued with just like coaches that. See, and I don't want to like disrespect them. Yeah. Like they knew what they were talking about, but sometimes
they didn't know how to say it the right way.
Didn't know how to. Yes, and they didn't know what they were talking about. So like, I'm being honest with you. We're here. This is half the reason why the coach, when I played at JUCO, this is half the reason why he told me not to come back. Yeah. Because like he was so. This is one example. I could do like 5 episodes talking about this 1 year of JUCO basketball.
I already know.
But like this one example, we were doing something, and he was telling us to do this one thing, and I was just sitting there. I was like, man. Now, caveat: I'm not saying I know more than the coach or whatever. I'm just using common sense. He's telling us to do something, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So I stopped practice.
Raise your hand.
He get mad at me. I'm like, first, okay, what'd you get mad at me for? Yeah. Like I'm trying to do what you're saying. I'm like, hey, what?
What'd you say? You were just asking like, how is this like?
Yes. I was like, hey, like I got a question about why we're doing it this way, and the way he responded was like, don't ask questions during practice. Wait till afterwards. And in my head, I'm like, I want to get this right now. Yeah. After practice, I'm trying to leave. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like it just got to a point like I just kept doing it, and I was just like, and we just kept getting scored on.
Yeah.
And finally, I was just sitting. I was like, Coach, we're doing what you're telling us to do, and we getting scored on. But you yelling at us because you saying we ain't playing hard enough.
Yeah.
It's like we're doing everything you're telling us to do.
What you're supposed to do, yeah.
But we keep getting scored on, and then so I was kind of like, not that I was challenging authority.
A little bit.
It was. It was just one of those things. But I know,
because I've been in that situation before.
It was hard for me not to say anything because I'm like, man, this just isn't making sense. Why are we doing defensive slides, jump roping? Exactly. Yeah. This is supposed to make us better. Why are we doing defensive slides while jump roping? If you know anything about basketball, you in the stance the whole time and you're moving your feet. Why are we jump roping? How is that going to make us better? We did that every day.
Every day is crazy. Every day.
And don't let us not do it. Now he yelling at us. We got to run suicide or something like that. So it's like stuff like that where it's like, man, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not trying to overwrite your authority. But it's just like, man, I got questions about why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah.
You know, and I had an assistant coach and, you know, and I'll get off my soul. I tell you, I can talk to you, bro. Because it was hard. I'm not going to lie. This whole year, it was tough. It was tough. There was an assistant coach there, and I was like, hey, man, I was in his office every day. I was like, I'm not trying to disrespect the coach. I'm trying to do everything he's possibly saying. I was like, if you see me disrespect the coach or like, you know, say
go too far or something like that.
Yeah. I was like, I need you to pull me aside and say, hey, you're going too far. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was like, can you hold me to that? And like, he never had to do that. Yeah. It was just like, man, I was trying to go halfway.
Genuinely trying to like.
I was genuinely trying, but the other he just was not. Yeah. And that's what led to, hey, it's just best if we part ways. And it's like that. You know.
Okay, I get that. Because I mean, I definitely had situations where, like, literally almost the exact same thing. Like we're doing something at track practice.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out like, how is this actually gonna make me run faster, or like how is this actually gonna directly correlate to me running like in a race? And asking the coach that, I feel like a good coach, or not just coach, someone in authority should invite questions. That shows that people are invested, that people want to grow and want to learn, which is your job, to be able to convey to them what they need to do in order to get better. So if they're not asking questions, then are they really even getting better? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they really understanding? Like, you can't know. I mean, I guess you can know if you watch and they do it right, but for all you know, they could have just guessed and not actually understood what you were saying. They could have just got it right once and you like, oh yeah, good job. But they don't even know what they did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And that's what, like, you yelling at me.
I've had that exact situation. That's why it's funny. When I was in Texas down there, the coach before I came here, we was doing some crazy stuff. But I ain't gonna hold you. Stuff I ain't never did. And I've been a pro for 3 years at this point.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not trying to say you're a bad coach, but
yes. And it's the thing is, because I understand when it comes to sports, there are some athletes who are just great athletes.
Right. Yeah.
Who don't know much. They just gonna do exactly what the coach say, and that's just them.
Yeah.
But I am not one of them. I may be a great athlete, but I did a lot of studying to understand the craft that I need, understand the technique, the different things, the drills, like everything. Right. So it's like when you tell me to do something that completely contradicts every single person in the past that I've watched, the film, every single coach that I've had, what they said, I have to question that. Like it don't make sense for me to be like, oh yeah, let's do that. Especially at the stage that I'm at, like I'm a professional athlete now. Like this is my job on the line. You know, I'm not just out here just trying to, just playing for a championship. This is my whole job. Like we got things to do, bro.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I like what you said. It's like, man, I'm trying to be a student, like I'm trying to be a student of the game. Yeah. Like I feel like for me, like I'm a student of the game. Like I was living in the gym, watching highlights all the time, watching games. Like I'm just steadily just watching, and to like, hey, you need to do this, but it's like, okay, not to say I need an explanation, but it's like, why, like, not
it is
why
helpful to get an understanding.
Yeah.
Because if you understand why you're doing something, you can put the emphasis on that when doing it and get more out of it.
And that's why it leads me back to the situation, the scenario. I'm over here doing exactly what you're saying. We keep getting scored on. It's like a one-on-one drill, but then you are yelling at me because I'm not going hard enough. And it's like, I've never had anybody tell me I'm not going hard enough ever. So it's like,
so that can't be true.
So you know what I'm saying?
Something's wrong here. So
like I'm not saying that to like
I'm just saying.
But it was like one of them things. I'm like, man, like this is tough, And then after practice, hey, what was the question that you had?
It's too late now, bro. We already did the drill 20 times.
I don't care no more. Like I'm trying to leave. And then hold on. Go ahead. And then when I sat there and asked a question, as I was asking my question, he completely after practice, because he was like, "What was your question?" As I sat there and started asking the question, he just cut me off. And then he just took it and was like, "Do you gotta do it?" I was like, "That's not even what I was trying to ask." Yeah. So at that point, I just shut off and I was just like, "Just go ahead and talk." And then he's like, "You understand?" "Yeah, I don't care anymore." And then I just walked out, and I'm like,
that kind of leads me to something I wanted to talk about, and this might be a hot topic. I don't know, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Okay. I feel like a lot of people's, maybe not disrespect. Mm-hmm. What's the word? A lot of people problem with authority comes from the authority they've had in the past. And okay, let me start it this way. Let me rewind. All right.
I see where you're trying to go. I see where you're trying to go. There have been people who have gotten into spaces and places and whatever of authority. Yeah. Because of an insecurity they had in themselves, and they needed to feel like they was in control. Mm-hmm. So when they got to authority, now everyone who they're over has a view of authority as that. If that makes sense. I see what you're saying.
That's what I was trying to get to, but I had to start the other way.
No, I see what you're saying.
And now their whole view is skewed, so they can't respect anyone else of authority because they have the same view of that same insecure dude trying to be in control, just trying to have the power, feel like they are in control, whatever it may be, instead of actually looking at authority for what it should be biblically. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought about that. Because then it will, like, you won't invite questions. You won't invite, like,
exactly. Because you want to feel in control. Like, it's out of insecurity. It's not actually out of, I don't know, if you actually care. Like you saying your dad, like, he just really cared for the kids. Right. Like, it's not like that. Like, you want this position because you need to feel needed, or you need to feel like you have the power or are in control.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now that I think about that, I sit there and look at the landscape of, because I coach and train now, and it's like the reason why I got into coaching and training is because literally of that situation. Like coaches can make it or break it for some of these athletes.
For sure,
100%. They can boost them up and get them to the right spot. Like we talked about it. You were like, man, the coach, like. Obviously, when you talked about like an episode failure, like, man, but it's like, I bet you it didn't help having a coach that you were going to every day, and you're like, man, this is trash.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, do I really want to do this anymore? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I failed on the track, and now I got to come to this guy, and it's like, Jesus. Yeah. So it's like the whole reason why I got into coaching and training is because it's like, man, how can I be a positive influence in the person's life? Number one. Yeah. And two, it's like, man, I want to help that person accomplish their goal more than they want to accomplish their goal. Yeah. And what that's gonna look like is like, man, I would say I'm like a player coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, it's like, man, the way I coach now, the way I train now is because I've seen I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
And it's not like a 100% like we're gonna go the opposite way. Yeah. But it's like, no. There's some things that, because you have to be an authority, like you got to be, hey, this is how it's gonna be. But then you also invite the dialogue, okay, hey, the player comes and says something to me, hey, that doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. But that gives them a chance to like, hey, should I do this or should I do that? Or there's sometimes a player comes up to me, hey, I did this. Oh, hey, that's my fault. Yeah. hey, that's on me.
I feel like that also builds trust too, though. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, you can get a certain amount of trust just being that type of like hard-nosed dude, but at the same time, I feel like it's different when you have those dialogues. Like, they for real know they can bring something to you if they like, hey, coach, why we doing it? Or like, what we supposed to be working on with this, and you can answer them with respect and like help them out. Like, they feel like you're actually teaching them and they're learning growing, through the process, not just being an athlete. Like, their mind is growing along with their muscles and like their body and whatever their muscle memory that's changing and growing,
I tell people, some people I train, I was like, man, if I'm selfishly thinking about this, if I'm training you and you do well, that looks good on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I'm gonna try to help you as much. I was like, that's why I was like, if I'm selfishly like looking at this thing.
Yeah.
But like, that's not, I'm trying to, like, I want you to be like, if you train track, like, I'm trying to, like, if I get you to the Olympics and like you're killing the game, breaking a whole bunch of records, people gonna ask you, hey, who you train with? Who's your coach?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you gonna say me. Obviously, that makes me look good.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I'm gonna take the time to do everything I can to help you.
Yeah.
Reach where you want to reach.
I feel like that's why some coaches miss it, or some people in authority miss it. Like we were saying before, because their goal is not for the athlete's success. Their goal was to get into a position and be in control. Like, that was it. They just need to feel control. They need to feel the power. Sometimes it may bleed into like, like building a squad or whatever that looks like. But when the heart of it from the jump is like for the athlete, it's so much different. It's so much different. The relationships is different from athlete coach, but also just like outside of it, like looking in on a situation like that, it just makes you want to play for a coach like that. Usually, from what I've seen,
that makes me. Now I'm gonna get back on my soapbox.
Go ahead.
Parents, but I think that's what that's not the problem, but it's like that's what I've seen with parents. It's like, man, now there's one thing like you want it for your kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it like sometimes it's like, man, what I've seen is like, I think the parent wants it so much, they care about the success of their kid, but they really care about the success of their kid because they want the success. It's gonna make them look good. You know what I'm saying?
As the parent.
Yeah. And it's like, no, my kid is this, my kid is that. And it's like, okay, cool. Your kid is good. Like I'm not saying don't believe in your kids.
Yeah.
But like there is a point where it goes like, hey, are you living vicariously through your kid?
If you want it more than your kid, then there's a problem.
Yeah. Now there's a level of like you want to try to push your kid, like like, hey, I think you're really good at this. But then at some point in time, it's like, and that's where I sit there and say, are you living vicariously through your kid? Because it's like, you didn't make it. Yeah. Exactly. Now you see your kid has a little bit of talent. You trying to do everything in your possible power to make sure your kid is gonna make it.
Yeah.
And man, people don't realize how that could be damaging to that kid.
It can.
Because a kid could be good at whatever sport.
Yeah.
But what if they don't love it? They're good at it, but they don't love it. That's not their passion.
Or maybe they started off loving it, but now
they hate it
because you pushing them so hard, and every single day they don't have no rest day. Right. They can't hang out with family, friends, and now they starting to resent it because to them this is like punishment almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's like if I was a kid and I'm good at basketball, but I'm also good. I mean, there's a guitar in here. I'm good at playing guitar, right? But then your parent, all they're doing is screaming at you about sports. And now I'm like, man, I also love the guitar too.
Yeah.
Why aren't y'all ever telling me to go pick up the guitar?
Yeah.
And now, like you said, I'm resenting this sport because y'all getting mad at me. I had a bad game. I get into the car and you tell, what am I? Now, some people have been successful with parents that have done that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're just different.
And it's also a fine line.
Yes.
I feel like when it comes to like actually pushing your kid to success and trying to live through them. Like you can 100% push your child.
Yes.
Especially nowadays with social media, phones, TV, video games, you can push your kid. Like, but when it comes to a point, like I was saying, it comes to the point where your desire for them to go to the next level is greater than theirs, it's like at some point you gotta check yourself to see like, do they even want this? Does my child even want this? Like if they do, then yes, push them. But if they don't, find out what they are passionate about and help them with that. You know what I'm saying? It can't be just like you were saying, like sports, because we see it like that's where the fame is, that's where the money is, that's where they can get us out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be like actual love, like for your child. And no matter what they do, as long as they're giving their best and they're successful, then they're good.
And that's where it's like my side of it, you know, being a coach and being trained, it's like I see a lot of that. Like, you want your kid, like you want to think your kid's the best thing. Like that's I feel like that's good. But I think like that's a positive impact of authority. I think. You know, you're the best player out here. You know, you're building that confidence up. But then it, like you said, it's that line where it gets to the point where it's like now it's
you
like,
ain't that good. What you playing out?
It gets to that point where it's like now it's too much. Like now you're beating your kid up because they didn't have a good game. You want them to have a good game so much, and now you're pissed off in the car at the kid. The last thing they want, like, why'd you do this? Why'd you? And it's like, man, to ask them how they're doing. Like, you know, like it's just like I went to the NBA Top 100 camp. They had like a parents meeting. And they talked about the impact of parents, and they were like, hey, when your athlete or son, daughter, whoever gets in the car, don't just immediately go to the game or something like that. Like, just ask them how they're doing, and like be okay. And if they want to talk about the game,
they'll bring it up.
Then you talk about the game. But if they don't want to talk about the game, don't sit there and bring up the game. Especially if they know they had a bad game and they lost. The last thing they want to hear,
bro.
The last thing, and especially, and honestly, is I mean, I'm not calling them out, but sometimes it's the dads out here that be so
100%.
And it's like, yo, relax.
And you know what's sad about that? While we about to wrap this thing up, I want to connect it back to what we were saying, like biblical, like authority, like godly authority, like God as the authority in our lives. When it comes to like fathers, we're supposed to represent. I'm not a father yet, but eventually we're supposed to represent God in our family. So, what does it look like to your child when they're trying to grow in their relationship with God, and all they see is you in your face, and that's the only authority that they got? Are you relating, like, are you reflecting God in the right way to your child? You know what I'm saying? But that can be the father or the wife, you know? Or the mother, you know what I'm saying?
But I think the role is placed a lot on the fathers, because
it is 100%.
It's like, man,
and it has to be.
You're head of the household. Head of the house. Like God, I feel like God, He gave. I want to be careful. Like He gave us roles in a way
100%.
that can help with our flourishing. You know, and it's like, man, it's just like sometimes the role of the father is so important in the house. You know, to encourage, to lift up, to pour in, to guide, to lead. You know what I'm saying? Like different stuff like that. You know, the culture stuff where it's like, you know, I'm just gonna make money and sit on the couch. I'm leading the family, and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like what? It's more than that. It's more than that.
A whole lot more for sure. A whole lot more.
Man, that is that authority. Man, I wish we had more time, but we might do a part 2. Who knows? Because I do want to hit on the godly authority. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to this is part 1. Part 2 is coming on the way. We're going to talk about more of the godly authority and like submitting to the Lord and stuff like that.
And we're going to give y'all Bible verses. Lock in, be prepared, be ready. Stress with somebody if it helped you out. We love y'all.
To y'all.
Peace.